My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, Commander of the Armies of the North, General of the Felix Legions, and loyal servant to the true Emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Before the real review starts, I just would like to apologize, and I forgot that I had this, and it would have been in the review. I just totally forgot about it, but now on to the actual review. Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott and came out 20 years ago today, or May 5th, depending on when you're watching this. The film stars Russell Crowe as Maximus, a Roman general who has everything taken away from him, and he becomes a slave and a gladiator, and during that we see him try to gain revenge on Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, who was the cause of all of that. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Now, if you somehow haven't seen Gladiator, I am going to go into spoilers in this video, but if you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? Go watch it right now and then come back and watch the review. Gladiator, in my opinion, is one of the best films ever made. It's just, it's mind-blowing. If you for some reason have watched my video since June 2018, or yeah, that's when I started it, I've deleted a lot of the videos now or privated them so they don't exist anymore because I was doing that earlier, but you would have noticed that I've had this poster up the entire time, ever since I started this channel, and that is because Gladiator has been one of my favorite films for years. From Ridley Scott's incredible direction, which really brings you back to this time period. Now I know some of the stuff is historically inaccurate, but who cares? He really pulls you into Maximus's life, and the incredible score by Hans Zimmer, it's probably my favorite work from him besides his work on the Batman films, which I know he did Batman Begins, but I don't know if he did The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, but if you know, let me know in the comments. But, I mean, this does really battle, no pun intended, for my favorite work from him. It is amazing, it fits the film so well, and it's actually, that is the reason why I'm reviewing this film, because I was scrolling through Twitter and then I saw a tweet from him, or his account, about this being 20 years old. I'm like, oh shit, and then I went, and now I'm here. I rewatched the film recently, well today, and now I'm here reviewing it for you. Russell Crowe is just amazing here. It's the best work I've seen from him, although I haven't seen A Beautiful Mind. He won the Oscar. Normally, in most years I would say he totally deserved it, but I mean, Christian Bale for American Psycho. I mean, yeah, but his performance, it's the best thing I've seen from him, easily. I haven't seen A Beautiful Mind though, as I just said. I'm repeating myself now. But the way he shows this broken man's path of revenge is just amazing, and he shows a lot of emotion through his eyes, whether that be anger or like regret or sadness. It's mind-blowing. Also, on the topic of Russell Crowe, I have to show you my favorite video of him. It's a scene from Les Miserables from 2012. Here you go.
I warned you I would not give in. I won't be swayed.
All jokes aside, his work here is fantastic. Now that video is very funny to me, but I mean, his work in this film is some of the best, at least for sure, of 2000 and probably of that entire decade. I think my favorite performance in the entire film though is Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus, this just truly evil character. Now Joaquin Phoenix, he's one of my favorite people working today, one of my favorite actors, and I mean, he's gone on to do Her, The Master, Joker, films like that, and this is still some of his best work. This is actually the first performance that he gave that I really paid attention to him as an actor. Now that was like, it was actually ironically around 2 years ago today, because I got my braces in 2018 on May 1st. And it's May 5th as I'm recording this, but yeah. I love all the emotion he shows in his face, the rage, sometimes he yells at some people, and of course the iconic. I love that every time. My favorite scene in the entire film actually features both these leads in just such an emotional battle, and it is that final battle, the final scene of the film. Spoilers here, but of course, as I mentioned before, but Ridley Scott builds so much emotion, and we really want Maximus to succeed, especially because in the previous scene, Commodus stabbed him. So you see him wounded, but you really want him to win. You see how much of a warrior he is here as he's beating him, and then he eventually kills him, and it is just glorious. That's a great word to describe this scene, glorious. The emotional weight really makes this scene, along with a lot of other things, but I love everything about the film. From the Game of Thrones-esque opening, now I know Game of Thrones came later, but still I feel like a lot of action in this inspired Game of Thrones, and I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but still. There's so many quotable lines too, like what I said at the start of that whole thing there, and just there's some things I want to say, but the way I'll say it will sound weird out of context, but just if you haven't watched the film, why are you watching this video? Please go watch it. As I just previously mentioned, I'm going to go a bit deeper with the action, but what I love about it is that it feels really realistic because they hide a bunch of the actual hits with the quick editing and shaky cam, but not shaky cam in an annoying way where you can't tell what's happening. You know what I mean? Now when we see some of the hits, it is brutal, like when Maximus takes the 2 swords and cuts off the guy's head, and there's lots of blood. It's brutal, but I just love the way everything looks, and the film is gorgeous. The cinematography is breathtaking. I think I've said that word like 3 times, but I love the use of shadows, especially with Commodus. It really makes you realize the darkness of his character, and that's what I love so much about the cinematography here, just everything. It just looks gorgeous. All the scenes in the Colosseum too. Ridley Scott has made some incredible films. I mean, I love Blade Runner, the original, and Alien is one of my other favorite films. It ranks just a tiny bit lower on my favorite films list, which is coming sometime. I don't know exactly, but this is my favorite film from Ridley Scott. I mean, The Martian's also really good, but this is my favorite. I've watched the film 3 times, and it has stayed there. It is a long-ass film, but the great thing about this film, it's like over 2.5 hours, but not a minute feels wasted, and that is what you have to do with films of this length, and the way that Ridley Scott pulled it off was fantastic. Gladiator is one of my all-time favorites, as I've said multiple times. I also believe it to be, that's a weird way to word it, one of the greatest films ever made. Like, there are some people have favorite films, but Gladiator I feel is one of the best and most well-made films ever. If you somehow haven't seen it, as I've said, please go watch it. I think I've praised it enough. Gladiator obviously gets an A+. Now, if you've seen Gladiator, comment down below what your thoughts on it, what's your favorite scene, but tell me what you think of Gladiator in the comments down below. I'm actually really, this is like a totally random review. I didn't expect to be doing this until like 2 o'clock today. But thank you all for watching. Comment down your thoughts on Gladiator in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time. Over and out.